Hello, listeners. Today we are releasing the final episode in our series entitled Minting Unicorns, Blockchain, AI, and Dubai, sponsored by the Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism, or DET. Dubai is the new global center of gravity, connecting the world in a way few places can. From flexible regulations to tax incentives, world-class infrastructure to access to global investors managing $1 trillion in investment money, Dubai understands what businesses need to scale fast. In this episode, we are excited to speak with Imad Gharazeddine, the visionary CEO and co-founder of Mamo, a pioneering fintech platform simplifying payments and empowering businesses in the MENA region. Well, Imad, thank you for being on the show today. Thanks for being on Code Story.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Noah.
Absolutely. Before we jump into Mamo and Dubai and all things in the MENA region and a lot of our topics today, tell me and my audience a little bit more about you.
So my name is Imad. I'm Lebanese by origin. I grew up in the Middle East. I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia. And then at 18, I packed up and moved to Canada to attend university. From that point onwards, I spent around 5 to 7 years in North America before deciding to move back to the Middle East, full circle. I studied engineering, so I'm an engineer by profession. Just before founding and starting Mamo with my co-founders, I was working at Google for the longest time, or what seems like the longest time ever for now.
That's cool. Okay, I'm going to ask you more personal. What do you do for fun?
When I'm not working and I have free time, I do a lot of sports. I practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's my main or core hobby. For me, it's been around 9 to 10 years. I actually recently got my brown belt at it, so it's been a while. Lots of injuries in the sport, so you go on and off for a while. Does wonders for your discipline and confidence in general. I also play tennis and do a bit of indoor climbing as well.
Well, let's dive into the meat of it then. So tell me about Mamo and what is Mamo and what specific problem are you trying to solve in the fintech space?
Mamo today is in the fintech space helping a very niche or specific segment in the market, which is the SME segment. We help small to medium-sized businesses with anything and everything relating to their payments operations. So that means collecting payments from their customers as well as making payments to vendors and suppliers. So in a nutshell, we're pretty much offering SME banking style services to these SMEs.
Excellent. Okay. So Mamo is often described as a company simplifying payments, right? And you even mentioned this in your description there just now, kind of for businesses and individuals in the region. What inspired you to start it? What inspired you to start the mission? And tell me about how the journey has been so far.
All of this started right around when COVID was happening. I think digitization and payments is something that was never top of mind for most businesses here in the UAE. But when COVID happened, that sort of catalyzed the market to start really and seriously considering digitization across not just payments, but all operations, customer support, value delivery, etc. At the time, we had a lot of our friends who were business owners reach out to us asking us to solve payment acceptance problems. Back then, there weren't many options when it comes to payment gateways in the market. And even if there were, they were quite clunky at best. APIs where the service and customer support that SMEs would get from these vendors was not up to their standards and nowhere near up to where it is in other more mature markets like in the US and Europe. So that ultimately fueled our intention and desire to solve this problem and solve it in a way that combines excellent user experience with stellar customer support and obviously a highly reliable and effective product.
That makes sense. And that's really interesting. And it's a perfect segue into my next question. So I'm curious about product, right? About the creation of the product. What sort of fundamental principles were guiding the creation of the product and how has that evolved over time?
So I would say for us, it's always been, and this is something we've learned from our days at Google, it's always been putting the user at the center of everything that we do. That means the user experience, the way we design the product, the way we price the product, the way we structure and build our customer support operation and how we service customers. All of that has the customer in mind. And nearly every decision we make considers the customer first rather than profits or revenue for us as a company. So I think when you do that and when even your hiring and team building focuses a lot on how customer centric your team can be That makes a very big difference in the final outcome that you're able to create. And it's a difference that you can't really measure or really explain, neither in writing or verbally, until you actually come in and visit the team and see how we operate together.
Okay, let's dig into Mamo and Dubai. Our topic, our title for this series is Minting Unicorns, AI, Blockchain, and Dubai, and all the things going on there. Why did you choose Dubai as the base for Mamo? And what advantages does the city offer to startups specifically in the fintech space?
As an outsider looking into how the UAE is operating and how Dubai is operating, I think you see a tremendous amount of progress across all areas here in Dubai, whether that is financial regulation, whether it's infrastructure being built, whether it's the increase in size of the market and the number of expats deciding to relocate to Dubai and choose Dubai or the UAE as their home. Growth is really fast and it's palpable. You see it when you're talking to people and going out, change happening much more quickly than anywhere else. And I think the fact that change has happened so fast means there's so much opportunity left on the table for fintechs like Mamo to come in and disrupt and innovate and make sure that the rate of change has a sufficiently matched experience when it comes to the types of products we build and then the support and services we offer to our customers.
Very good. Okay. What sort of opportunities have you capitalized on specifically for yourself, for Mamo, and on that you believe are unique to Dubai? And you kind of surfed maybe at a high level on those, but maybe dive into one or two.
What Dubai boasts that no other market, or what the UAE in general boasts that no other market does, or very few, let's say, markets in the MENA region, is the sheer size of the market when it comes to how many SMEs and small businesses are set up here and operating here. If you look at the UAE as a whole, it has the sixth largest GDP per capita in the world. And the number of SMEs as of today is around 500,000 in the market. And that's expected to hit 1 million by 2030. So the sheer size of the market, despite it being a small market when it comes to population, the opportunity and the number of businesses setting up here to take advantage of basically tax advantages and the ease of setting up is quite large. And you have over 100 free zones in the country. Free zones are essentially zones where businesses are able to apply for corporate licensing and set up shop. So everything from setting up a company to getting visas to hire employees to attracting talent, because it's an income tax-free country, makes it very attractive for SMEs and for fintechs like us.
Okay, so Mamo is known for promoting financial inclusion, right? How do your products and services specifically cater to the underserved communities in this region?
Excellent question. So if you were to visit and see what the typical SME goes through when it comes to availing financial services, the first thing you get hit with after setting up with a company is the need to open a bank account. And typically that process here in the UAE is something that takes around 3 to 4 months. It's slowly improving over time, but 3 to 4 months is a very long time to wait to simply set up something that can be set up in a few minutes in other markets. That problem spills over into many other areas. For example, once you've set up a bank account, you may want to begin accepting digital payments as a business. It's borderline impossible or very difficult, let's say, for you to get a decent contract with a payment gateway who really is equipped and structured in a way to service businesses of your size, especially if you're just starting up. So the 500,000 or so small businesses that I spoke about before are going to find it very difficult to get access to services that are otherwise very easily and freely available to larger enterprise firms. And that's exactly the gap that we're playing in right now.
Very cool. Okay. As a leader, what's your approach to building a strong and innovative team at Mamo, right? To accomplish big goals like Mamo has and to build something that's truly solving a big problem, you got to have the right team. How are you approaching that?
So team building is really part of our DNA. We've invested a lot of time, effort, and thinking into how to hire. And as I touched on before, our filter process or interview process has been honed over time. And we really take care about hiring well-rounded, holistic people to join our team, regardless of what department they're in, right? So whether it's an engineer or a marketer or a salesperson or a finance professional, we need to make sure that they fit with our culture because you can't hire individual superstars if they don't match the culture and the team, or if they don't work well with the team that you have. So we try to make sure that culturally it's a strong fit. We try to make sure people are comfortable with ambiguity and learning very quickly. This is something that we got trained how to do during our days at Google. And ultimately, it's a matter of making sure that you hire very slowly and you handpick people. And then if something's not working or if the culture fit is a mismatch, we don't continue our relationships with the hires. So we end up growing the team quite slowly, but the team that remains at Mamo is very tightly knit and know how to collaborate in ways that give us the speed that we're able to execute at.
As a CEO, you learn all kinds of lessons, right? Daily, you're up to your elbows in issues and figuring things out as you're scaling your startup. Tell me, as a CEO, what lessons you've learned in scaling a fintech startup in such a competitive and rapidly evolving market?
We learned so much. And I would say the most memorable lessons for me is how to make sure you trust the team and empower the team to be autonomous, but make sure they really understand what the why behind anything you're doing. And once they understand the why, you can let go of a lot and delegate a lot and empower the team to lead in their own initiatives because you have trust that the final outcome is going to be aligned with the vision you have. So I think doing that across multiple departments and making sure you're playing a coordination role between departments and leads is ultimately something that I learned how to do better and better each year since starting Mamo. There's other learnings as well. It's absolutely critical when building a fintech specifically that you do not treat product design, engineering, regulation, finance as separate departments. In fact, it's beneficial that you educate your people on the full scope of what it means to run a fintech. For example, regulation is difficult, and oftentimes you see fintechs really separate between product or user experience and compliance and risk. This, for me, I think is what we learned is that it's a mistake to create massive separation there. And it's far better that you convince or educate the product and engineering team on the importance of compliance and risk so that they are able to problem solve and build solutions that are compliant, that keep the company safe from a fraud and risk perspective, but also don't create massive annoying friction for the end user. So it's always a balance between improving your customer funnel, but also making sure you block bad actors from the platform that you're building.
Very good. I appreciate that overview. And flipping into Dubai a little more, right? Dubai is emerging as a fintech hub, right? There's lots of buzz going on in Dubai around startups, fintech, AI, blockchain, all of the things. Where do you see the industry heading in the next decade?
I see fintech slowly becoming a little bit more fragmented before consolidation happens, in that fragmentation is required to really create the best experiences possible for customers and the most specialized experiences possible for customers. After which, customers are going to get into the habit or get used to a certain quality of service. And that quality of service, which is most likely going to be offered by fintechs who are disrupting their niche sectors, is going to entice incumbents to either acquire those fintechs, copy those fintechs, or simply fintechs are going to end up taking over when it comes to market share. I see the market eventually going towards lower and lower fees when it comes to payment collection. I see the market getting a lot deeper into automation to help business owners and teams save time, be that powered by AI or not powered by AI, it doesn't matter. Like automation is automation. So ultimately, it's saving money and saving time. The one thing that's going to stay constant is users are extremely demanding and competition is fierce, and that's going to bring prices down and quality of experience up.
Yeah, for sure. It always does that. Okay, Imad, last question. So, you're talking to fintech startups or entrepreneurs who are looking to expand into Dubai or the broader MENA region. What advice do you give those startups that are looking to do this? What advice do you give them and them starting their journey?
Anyone looking to set up here, I'd really recommend a lot of research is done on which jurisdiction or which free zone you'd want to set up in Dubai. Make sure you've truly understood where your team is going to be located and what your hiring strategy is going to be. Are you going to be remote first or not? talent is expensive here in Dubai. So you want to make sure that you're really calculating the benefits of being here from a hiring perspective relative to the tax breaks that you get here, etc. So do a lot of research, and there's specialized companies that help you do that research to figure out where to set up. One of the benefits of setting up here is there's a lot of investor interest in the region. There's a lot of government programs that are aimed to help businesses set up. That's part of the 2030 vision for the country.
Well, Imad, thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate you talking through Mamo and bringing underserved communities in the region. And I can hear that you're taking advantage of the great environment in Dubai and all of the things offered there. So I really appreciate you being on the show today. This has been an inspiring conversation with Imad, shedding light on how Dubai is enabling fintech innovators to thrive. Thank you for tuning in to our series, Minting Unicorns, Blockchain, AI, and Dubai. As a reminder, you can check out the resources mentioned during the show by visiting the show notes. There are links to the Dubai Blockchain Center, AI Campus, D33 Economic Agenda, and much more. And thanks again for listening.